Hey, it's Dr. Charles, aka CoachMD. In my over 30 years of medical practice, I have made it my goal to help you create a great life by achieving a strong mind, a healthy body, and an unshakable spirit. What I'm going to talk about today is dark chocolate. Is it a superfood? Is it good for us? Is it bad for us? Well, we're going to watch a video of a gentleman, a doctor, who doesn't think it's so good for us. So let's listen and I'll have my comments.
Learn more. There are a handful of foods on which a health halo of sorts has been bestowed. These are so-called superfoods like avocados, quinoa, and chia seeds. The evidence for these, as for most nutritional claims, is scant. But one thing we do know is that candy's not a health food, right? But thanks to some typically poor nutrition data, media hype, and crafty marketing, dark chocolate has somehow escaped the candy stigma to join the ranks of health food in the public mind.
Okay, so is it a health food? Is it not? I'm not going to go as far to say it's a candy, and I think it's disingenuous for him to say so. So let's listen to this some more.
Fine. What is up with that? That's the topic of this week's Healthcare Triage. If you type, "Is dark chocolate good for you?" into the Google search bar, the results will likely have you believing that dark chocolate is the new kale. And while I don't know if kale's a superfood either, it at least has the benefit of being a vegetable. Healthline.com touts the 7 proven health benefits of dark chocolate, while WebMD says dark chocolate is healthy chocolate. Given the evidence we have that excessive sugar is bad for us, and given that most chocolate makes fast friends with added sugar,
it's true, most chocolate does make fast friends with added sugar, but that's regular chocolate. That's candy chocolate. That's not dark chocolate. Most dark chocolate, good, high-quality dark chocolate, has not as much sugar, and we'll see, not so much sugar that is always bad for you.
Something's up with these claims. So what happened? How has this narrative become so embedded in public perception? A group over at Vox did a deep dive on this.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there just for a second. Group over at Vox. Vox is well known for having one of the most biased media outlets. So if they have a spin, if they have an agenda, they're going to show it in their reports. So anything you listen to now, just keep in mind that Vox has done this deep dive according to this narrator.
Issue, starting with how a large number of chocolate-related scientific grants and studies have been funded by major chocolate producers like Nestle, Mars, and Hershey's. Perhaps not surprisingly, the majority of these studies reported outcomes that could be used favorably in these companies' marketing campaigns to transform their product into a health food in the public mind's eye. And beyond funding and conducting chocolate studies, these companies endow chairs at various research institutions and sponsor research conferences that focus on subjects related to chocolate and health.
Okay, let me just interrupt here. Yes, that's the nature of scientific research. Many companies will sponsor research, will sponsor chairs at departments, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. There could be some good products coming out of a company that is historically known for making bad product, let's say. When I say bad products, I mean like candy products. Not good for us, bad for us. So does that mean that that company can't come out with something, a product that may be good for our bodies? I don't think you can cast that broad brushstroke and make that broad statement. And certainly using Vox as your source is not so reliable.
I'd say these were genius moves if I weren't more horrified by the deception than I am impressed by the marketing.
Oh my God.
Some of the claims supported by all this chocolate-funded research that now seem to be ubiquitous in public circles are that chocolate is good for cognitive outcomes like mood and memory and cardiovascular outcomes.
There's actually
like
good
blood
studies
pressure
showing that
and cardiovascular
that is true.
risk. The media plays a large role in the spread of these claims, mainly because these are the kinds of things people want to read. Headlines promising that a daily dose of chocolate will stave off age-related memory decline are attractive, and the content underneath these headlines is rarely devoted to examining the quality and or funding of the research that prompted it. And most of that research is low quality and or can't be easily translated to relevant human outcomes.
Stop right there. Low quality. Go to PubMed. Don't Google it. is dark chocolate good for you? Go to PubMed, PUBMED, and type in dark chocolate. There are hundreds of high quality studies looking at dark chocolate and the health benefits of dark chocolate. Look, too much of a good thing is not always a good thing, as we'll see in a few minutes, but it's not correct when he says that the studies are mostly low quality.
Sometimes that's because it was funded and or conducted by chocolate companies.
Not always.
Sometimes it's because the research came from animal studies and rats just
Not
aren't
always.
humans. The studies could be observational nutrition studies.
Not always.
We've talked extensively about how problematic these are, or other issues, like including way too few people looking at short-term or overall irrelevant outcomes or playing dirty with statistics.
Okay.
But none of that's communicated to the public, at least not.
I would agree with that somewhat. Studies do manipulate statistics. Sometimes the group sizes are too small. But again, there are some high quality studies showing benefits of dark chocolate.
Well, and definitely not often. The Vox article points out there are
The
some
Vox
studies
article.
of reasonable quality, not funded by industry, that have found associations between chocolate eating and cardiovascular health.
Thank you.
But, as
Yeah.
mentioned, these are observational, meaning
not
none of
all
the
of them.
evidence directly links chocolate to a lower risk of cardiovascular events.
Not all of them.
There are so many things
PubMed.
that could account for this association. And without running a large randomized controlled trial, we can't know for sure what's actually going on.
Don't trust Vox.
There is one of those in the works right
100%.
now. It's called Cosmos, and it's investigating daily supplements of cocoa flavanols. Participants just ended their pill taking in December of 2020, so data should be forthcoming, but we should mention that Mars did have a hand in funding this study along with Pfizer and the NIH, and we should emphasize that cocoa flavanol supplements shouldn't be equated with eating chocolate, though they often are. That is
Okay. So again, just because it's funded by them doesn't mean it's necessarily they're influencing the outcome. That can happen, but it doesn't have to happen. And it is my opinion from the research that I've seen that small doses of dark chocolate can be good for you. But let me pause right here. If you're liking what you see, if you have comments, I'd love to hear from you. If you like this, if you dislike it, check it off on this YouTube video. Definitely, if you like my videos, if you have ideas for new ones, comment, subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell, the notification button, so you'll know when I'm putting out new videos. I'd love to hear from you. So if you have some ideas or comments on this video, please comment below. So let's listen to more of this.
is a big issue that rarely, if ever, gets mentioned. A lot of the research linking chocolate to health is actually based on research with flavanols, compounds with a high presence in plant foods that are thought to have antioxidant and other potentially beneficial properties. But even in studies using chocolate rather than supplements, no one mentions that a significant loss of flavanols occurs in the processing required to decrease the bitter taste of cocoa.
Right.
A lot of chocolate has
got
been
a point
subject
there.
to treatment with alkali, a process also known as Dutching. One study conducted on natural cocoa powder found that lightly Dutched cocoa retained about 40% of its flavanol antioxidants. Medium Dutched cocoas retained only 25%, and heavily Dutched cocoas retained only 10%. And since you aren't likely to find information on how heavily Dutched your cocoa is,
Got a point.
or what the actual flavanol content of your chocolate is, keep in mind that cocoa content is not a good indicator of that. Your guess is as good as mine on whether you'll be getting any useful flavanol levels in your dark chocolate. Okay, fine, you say. I'll just choose dark chocolate that hasn't been processed with alkali. And such options are definitely available to you. But to reduce that seriously bitter flavor, chocolate generally has to be, as one scientific article puts it, aggressively processed and adulterated with other.
Okay, aggressively processed and adulterated. That doesn't happen. That it may happen with some, but the high quality dark chocolates, the ones that are 75% and 80%, those are low levels of sugar, and they are high content of flavanols. They are more better than others. You have to read the label and you have to do your research. And at one point I will do a comparison with chocolates at a later date, but you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater, meaning you can't just broad stroke, all of it's bad. There is some good, and there's a lot of good actually in the dark chocolate world, but too much of good, again, is not good. But to say aggressively processed and adulterated, come on. Yes, in some of the more highly processed in candies, yes.
Other flavors, making the health claims pretty dubious. If you've had the opportunity to taste chocolate without all these additives,
yes, he's
you'll
right.
know what I mean when
It's
I say
very
it
bitter.
ain't no Hershey bar.
Right.
As an editorial in The Lancet points out, the devil in the dark chocolate is all the
study.
fat, sugar, and calories it contains to make it tasty. So even if you consume flavanol-rich dark chocolate, you're...
These are not dark chocolate options. And when you see a dark chocolate option in a candy aisle, read the label. You can say anything. It's like saying there's potato chips have no cholesterol in them. Of course they have no cholesterol because they are not an animal product and only animal cells have cholesterol in them. So to say the Milky Way is dark chocolate, read the label. It is not a high quality dark chocolate. It is more of a candy. So yes, in this case, he's right.
Also likely over-consuming calories and sugar, both of which are culprits in
too much
many
of a good
health
thing is
conditions.
not
The
good.
Vox article has a handy chart of how much chocolate you need to eat for a heart-healthy dose of flavanols. For dark chocolate, this is about 4 3/4 ounces, which is 750.
Again, he's relying too much on the Vox article, which cherry picks information.
Calories. If you're aiming for about 2,000 on average calories per day, that nearly 5 ounces of chocolate accounts for almost a fourth of your caloric intake in a day. A fourth! And if you eat 4 3/4 ounces of a dark chocolate Hershey's bar, which is almost 4 servings, you'll be eating around 67 grams of sugar.
Yeah,
That is
it's a
somewhere
lot of
around
sugar, but
16
that doesn't
teaspoons
happen
of
in real
sugar,
good
and it's
dark
far more
chocolate.
than any adult should be eating in a day, let alone in your mid-afternoon chocolate snack. So the overall message here is that there is no high-quality research to support the claim that dark chocolate has long-term health.
False. There's a lot of good research. Is it long term? Well, it may not be as long a term as he would like, but there's good high quality research.
Benefits. Let me emphasize high quality, because as we've pointed out, there's a lot of studies making the connection, mostly in the short term, but none that I'd place any bets on. And even if there are potential benefits, the amount of sugar, fat, and calories consumed would quickly outweigh them. Thanks again to Policy Genius.
Yes. This is what, when you look at the candy, when you look at the low quality dark chocolate, you will see there's a high level of sugar. The high qualities have less sugar. However, even a dark chocolate candy bar, chocolate bar, you're not going to consume the whole thing. Again, I'll repeat, too much of a good thing is also not good. But to rely so heavily on the Vox argument here and the Vox deep dive, as he says, is not really accurate, is not good information, because again, it's coming from a slanted bias study. The research that I've seen, the high quality research that I've seen, shows that dark chocolate can be a superfood when consumed in moderation. So that's the key, in moderation. So let me know what you think. Until next time, I'm Dr. Charles, aka CoachMD, urging you to stay strong in mind, in body, and in soul. Bye for now. Charles, CoachMD, thanks for stopping by. Make sure to like and comment below. I'd love to hear from you. If you think you have a friend who might benefit from this video, share it with them. For access to exclusive content, support my Patreon. There you'll get private access to videos, meditations, health tips, even relationship and financial tips. You'll have a say in what I produce and be able to participate in a monthly call with me. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you soon.